John here, back again with another review, and this is for DJ Donnelly. He wanted me to talk about and review The Cable Guy, 1996 comedy, and this is a fun movie. I mean, you got Jim Carrey, you got Matthew Broderick in the film, and directed by Ben Stiller. Now, the plot real quick, so you have the main character, Steven, who is played by Matthew Broderick. He's moved into his new apartment, and the cable guy, played by Jim Carrey, is there to hook him up, give him cable, and from that point, he becomes attached to our main character, but at some point, Steven breaks off the friendship, and the cable guy begins stalking our main character, and that's the plot, pretty much. Now, for me, what really works about this film is the cast. I mean, when you go back and look at this time, before this movie, Jim Carrey was known for Ace Ventura and The Mask and Dumb and Dumber. A lot of those slapstick movies that were hits, and like before this he had done Batman Forever, but this is quite different from anything that he had done before. And I know at the time that when this film came out, I think it made a little bit of money, but I think a lot of people just didn't get it, or maybe were put off a little bit by the character, because this is definitely, like I said, quite different from what Jim Carrey has played before. And apparently this is like the biggest payday for Jim Carrey. I think he made like somewhere between, and I think it's mentioned on the commentary, like 17 million or somewhere between 17 and 20 for this film here. So Jim Carrey, this is like the biggest paycheck he's ever got. And he's on the commentary for this Blu-ray too. This is the 15th anniversary, and on the commentary you have Ben Stiller, Judd Apatow, and Jim Carrey, and it's a fun commentary. But Jim Carrey, I know, also I think a lot of people are aware that originally it was going to be Chris Farley as the cable guy, which would have been interesting. I mean, there's part of me that would like to have seen that. But I thought Jim Carrey really nailed it here. And there's quite a bit of moments of dark humor. There's quite a bit of moments with Jim Carrey's character that are funny and memorable. I mean, you have, the part where they're playing basketball. You have the scene where, him and Steven go to medieval times, and he puts the chicken skin on his face. And, as we know, that was, off the cuff. And you could tell in the film that was ad-libbed, because you could see Matthew Broderick, laughing. But Jim Carrey, I liked his character in this film. Like I said, he has his moments of, there's quite a bit of times where he's funny, but there's also some moments where he's kind of creepy a little bit. And but I know that there were some earlier drafts where this was much darker, and I'd like to have seen that. And I have to believe too that I think this, and I think they may have talked about this on the commentary, that because of this film, this may have led to Jim Carrey sort of branching out, that this guy is capable of doing other stuff and trying out and playing different characters. And that's another reason why Jim Carrey took this role, because he wanted to do something different. Kind of break away from the Ace Ventura types and, The Mask and Dumb and Dumber. He wanted to do something different, and I think it worked here for this film. And like I said, there's definitely quite a few highlights from Jim Carrey's performance, and funny as well as dark. You have Matthew Broderick in the film, and I thought he did a good job here. And apparently, I think also too, I read in the trivia that Ben Stiller was up for this part. And so, I mean, what if that would have looked like? If Chris Farley was the cable guy, Ben Stiller as the Steven character. But I thought Matthew Broderick did a really good job here, playing the straight man. At times you kind of feel bad for him because obviously this cable guy is unstable. He's trying to get away from him. He's trying to, keep his distance at some points, but I thought Matthew Broderick and Jim Carrey had a fun rapport going on, and they got some fun scenes together. Like I said, the medieval times bit, the basketball scene, the karaoke scene, with Jim Carrey. I want somebody to love. I don't know. I'm not going to try to do Jim Carrey, but that whole scene is funny. But again, Matthew Broderick, I like him as an actor. As a person, I'm not sure, but Ferris Bueller's Day Off is a classic. I do like Godzilla from '98. I know I'm one of the few, but I do like that movie. War Games, of course. But yeah, Matthew Broderick, again, he was good here in the film. I thought him and Jim Carrey bounced off each other well. Leslie Mann's in the film. Yeah, Leslie Mann, I thought, she was a good support here in the film. Playing the love interest of Matthew Broderick. And she would kind of be in the middle between this war, going on between Jim Carrey's character, the main character, Stephen, played by Matthew Broderick. And so Leslie Mann's good. I mean, around this time, she was doing movies like this and, George of the Jungle. I like her as an actress. You also have Owen Wilson in the film. He plays like a date in the movie. You also have Jack Black. And this is what's really interesting about this cast here. You have Leslie Mann. You have Jack Black as a buddy of Matthew Broderick. He's good in the film. Ben Stiller, which I thought what they did with his character in the film is basically where this guy is on trial for killing his brother, and they're, kind of like a take on the OJ thing, the OJ Simpson trial, but they kind of parodied it it's kind of like a parody where, Ben Stiller kills his brother and he's on trial in the film. Sam Sweet. Eric Roberts appears in the film, which was fun. They also have Charles Napier. Yeah, Murdoch from First Blood Part 2. He appears in the film for one scene. David Cross is in the film. Andy Dick. I don't care for Andy Dick. Bob Odenkirk. Yeah. I didn't notice this before, but Bob Odenkirk is in the movie. In the scene where Matthew Broderick is with his family and they're playing Porno Password. And then it's like right where the scene where the cable guy Matthew Broderick punches Jim Carrey, and the family is trying to help out Jim Carrey. One of the family members is Bob Odenkirk, the guy that would go on to be in Better Call Saul and the film Nobody. I didn't recognize it before, but rewatching it again, I'm like, hey, this is Bob Odenkirk. Very small, like blink and you miss. But yeah, really interesting cast here. Again, you got Jim Carrey, Matthew Broderick, Leslie Mann, Jack Black, but also too, you got Ben Stiller in there, Eric Roberts, Owen Wilson, Charles Napier. So good cast here. Now again, directed by Ben Stiller, and I thought he did a good job here directing. Now prior to this, he had directed Reality Bites, which I think I have the film somewhere, but I've never seen the film. He would go on to direct Zoolander and Zoolander 2, and he directed this series called Severance, which I haven't seen. I remember watching the trailer for it. It looked interesting, but I didn't see the show. And as far as the dark humor is concerned, I thought it was balanced well. And like I said, you do have quite a few fun moments, but there's also some dark moments. And I know, like I mentioned earlier, they talked about there was a darker version of the film, or a draft, but there was also like another draft where it was a much more lighter version, kind of like, What About Bob, type of movie. And I would like to have seen, if this film went a little bit darker, what that would have looked like. I mean, I'm not saying go full on Pacific Heights with this movie, but I do like that movie. But I think it would have been if this was a darker film, who knows what would have happened? I mean, I'm trying to think, would that have changed the trajectory of Jim Carrey at this time? Because right after this, he did Liar Liar. Then he would go on to do The Truman Show. I do think in some ways that this film here kind of shook up the trajectory of Jim Carrey a little bit. That this guy is capable of not just doing slapstick. He's great at slapstick. He's great at doing that, shtick that made him famous. But, this guy can also do, a little bit of creepy, a little bit of, dramatic, or he's capable of more. And he could do more. And I think that kind of opened up, it kind of opened up the doors a little bit. Which Liar Liar is a great comedy. And that has some, that had some great Jim Carrey moments. And The Truman Show is a great movie that really, you could see his great dramatic acting on display. Ace Ventura 2, which I almost forgot, but, he had done that the year before. So I could see why he wanted to, play something different here and shake it up a little bit. But again, going back to the dark comedy, I thought it was well balanced and it was fun. And I thought the dark moments, especially with the, scenes with the Sam Sweet stuff with Ben Stiller, I thought that was, fun parody. And it got a lot of fun appearances here in the film. The pacing, I think the movie is hour and a half, somewhere along there, and it moves at a good pace. And as far as this Blu-ray is concerned, I mean, like I said, you do have a commentary up here by Ben Stiller, Judd Apatow, and Jim Carrey, which is a fun commentary. You have deleted scenes, you have a gag reel, HBO first look, rehearsal footage, music video. So it's a good Blu-ray. And overall, at the end of the day, The Cable Guy is a fun movie. I wouldn't say it's a favorite of mine when it comes to Jim Carrey. I much prefer The Mask or Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura, but this is still a good movie, and him and Matthew Broderick had a good rapport, good supporting cast. Again, I like the humor in the film. I thought Ben Stiller did a good job directing. I like some of the songs in the film. That was fun, good soundtrack. And a lot of memorable, scenes, like the medieval times bit, the basketball scene, the scene where Jim Carrey beats up Owen Wilson in the bathroom. And I know the film kind of ends on like a sequel bait, like, is there going to be another one? Because as we know, Jim Carrey gets picked up in the helicopter and kind of gives this look like, is there going to be another film? But I don't think there ever... I know there was like a Super Bowl ad with the Cable Guy, but that was cool to see, but I don't think he really needed a sequel, but I don't know if he really needed a sequel bait, or kind of, the way the film ended. But anyways, I mean, like I said, The Cable Guy is a good 90s comedy, underrated, I would say. I think it deserves a little bit better than a 6 or a 6.1 on IMDb. I think it's somewhere around there. I think it deserves a little bit more than that. But yeah, so that's my review of The Cable Guy. And to cap off the review with a couple of questions. Question 1. How do you think it would have turned out if Chris Farley had played the Cable Guy? How would it have turned out for Chris Farley? And question number 2. What's your favorite scene from the Cable Guy? So yes, those are my 2 questions for this review for you guys out there watching. But I just want to say thank you again, and thank you to DJ Donnelly for suggesting this movie. But thank you for watching, and have a good day.